Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Rocco walks over and can't believe his mom showed up at his workplace and on his first day. Meanwhile, Danny talks to Gio about how embarrassed Rocco is, though if his mom were here, she'd be doing the same. Gio says his would as well. Lulu at the pool. Lulu checks in with Gio and asks how the boys are doing. He says it's their first day and they'll get the hang of it. She asks how he's doing. Gio says he's fine. Brooke Lynn and Dante work together at the Quartermain mansion. Marco provides Brooke Lynn with Rocco's original birth certificate as Ben Westbourne. He also gives her the one updated 6 months later, reflecting Lulu and Dante as his parents. Marco, Brooke Lynn and birth certificates. Marco takes off when Dante shows up. Dante assumes Chase told her what Anna did to them. Brooke Lynn says he did, and tells him not to hold anything against Chase, as he was just protecting her. She asks if he's here to yell at her again. He's not. Dante doesn't know what comes next, but to reach Gio they have to work together. Brooke Lynn and Dante. Dante isn't ready to forgive her or Chase, but at least she had a good relationship with Gio before all this. Now, thanks to coming down hard on him for what happened to Rocco, Gio doesn't trust him. Brooke Lynn notes they are in the same boat. She thinks if they give Gio time, he'll come around to having a relationship with them. Dante works with Brooke. Dante feels they need to do something. She says he's a 22-year-old kid, so they can't force him to have a relationship with them. But between them and her grandmother, they'll get him to come around. He agrees to be patient, though he hates it. In the sunroom, Cody finds Tracy laughing while watching a clip of Martin falling on his face. Tracy thanks Cody for what he did today, and says they need to discuss his payment. Cody says he doesn't want her money. He says he was happy to knock Drew down a notch. She's a great boss and he loves this job. He doesn't take money for doing a favor for a friend. Tracy thanks Cody. Tracy thanks Cody. Tracy goes to the pool later. Tracy arrives at the pool and tells Lulu they have one at the house she can use, so she doesn't have to sunbathe with the public. Lulu says their pool doesn't employ Rocco. Tracy finds it cute that she's spying on her son. They also talk about Gio, who is getting along with Rocco. Tracy just hopes he gets over his anger toward Brooke Lynn soon. Tracy and Lulu at the pool. The boys finish their shift and ask Gio if they can go for a swim. He says they can't, they are employees and to go swim at the QS. Tracy whistles at the boys and says she'll give them a ride home. Christina tells Alexis that Elizabeth knows all. Christina drops by her mom's office to talk about Liz and the accident. She says Lucky told her everything. She notes Liz could turn her in, but she won't. Alexis asks why she's keeping quiet, aside from Lucky being charged as an accessory. Christina says she knows it would hurt her and Molly. Alexis says now that Liz is taken care of, Christina must give up this scheme of hers regarding Rick, Ava, Cody and Liz. Christina visits Alexis. Alexis tells Christina that Liz has a soft heart, and she could take Rick back because of her scheme. Alexis thinks they should tell Liz about the blackmail, but Christina fears Liz would only tell Rick right before kicking him out of her life. Christina insists they can't tell anyone. Alexis wants Christina to stop. Later, Cody meets with Christina in the office. She tells him that the next time he meets with Ava, he needs to drop the news that Lucky left the country. She suspects Ava doesn't know, and she'll be upset that Rick didn't tell her, knowing Rick has a thing for Liz. Cody says if Rick is already into Liz, isn't his job done? Christina says Liz likely will never give Rick another chance, but Ava won't settle for being the consolation prize. She tells Cody he needs to simply make Ava realize she has better options than Rick. Cody gets new orders. Ava gets wise to Rick. Laura talks with Ava at the gallery, and Ava invites her and Kevin to the new Joel Sartori exhibit opening soon. Laura has such a full calendar and hopes Ava wouldn't mind if she passed the tickets on to Liz, who loves art. Ava smiles and says Liz is always welcome. Laura and Ava talk. Laura spots Ava drinking berry juice and thinks everyone is drinking it nowadays. Ava explains that Rick got her hooked on it. Laura jokes he must be getting commission, as he was drinking it with Liz at her house the other day. Ava notes Rick has been very busy lately with cases, and Laura assumes his schedule will clear up now that the Corinthos case is over. Laura then excuses herself to take a call from Elizabeth. Ava knows Rick lied. Laura takes off, and Ava calls Rick's secretary to find out about the day Rick went to Beecher's Corner for a case, claiming he misplaced his watch. Ava soon realizes Rick never went to Beecher's corner and lied to her. Cody and Ava flirt. Cody arrives later to work his magic with Ava. Ava takes a call from someone and asks where they are, as she's had them booked for months. It turns out the man who hangs the art for her exhibit has an emergency and can't come. Cody says he is pretty good with a hammer and nails. Rick meets with a client at the hospital. Rick shows up, says hello to Liz, and she explains that she doesn't have time for him today. He says he's here to see a client. Lucas and Martin. Lucas examines Martin, who is in extreme pain, and blames Tracy for his back injury. Lucas steps out and talks to Liz about Martin. Liz tells him Rick is here to see him, and she jumped to the conclusion that Rick came to see her. Lucas points out Rick has stopped by to see her daily since Lucky left. Liz asks if he thinks she's leading Rick on. Liz leading Rick on. Lucas thought Rick was seeing Ava, so what's Liz's issue? Liz admits she has fond memories of Rick, but hasn't forgotten what he did, and she's not going back there. Lucas brings up Brad and understands her situation. With Brad, he had to decide when enough was enough. Lucas and Liz talk. Rick meets with Martin in his room, and Martin wants to sue the pants off Tracy. Rick tells him he really doesn't have a case, as he lunged at Tracy when he fell, but he'll do his best. Rick will need a retainer of $15,000. Martin doesn't have that money, so Rick suggests he focus on getting his back taken care of. Martin in bed. Liz runs into Rick in the halls and apologizes for assuming he was there to see her. He offers to take her out for a drink, but she thought he'd have plans with Ava. Rick says Ava's busy with a big gallery show. Alexis thanks Liz. Alexis shows up later to meet with Liz. They go to a private room, and Alexis thanks Liz for not going to the police about Christina, and to know that she doesn't take what her daughter did lightly. She spent her life pursuing justice, and now she's protecting her daughter from going to prison, which is what she deserves. Alexis and Liz speak. Liz knows Christina has been going through a lot with losing the baby and Sam, and if anyone can make someone snap, it's Ava. Alexis believes Christina understands the severity of what she's done. Liz does too, which is one of the reasons she agreed to stay silent. Meanwhile, Laura arrives at the hospital to see her brother. Elizabeth called her and told her that he had been admitted. She asks what happened, and he says he experienced a fall and will have to stay at least the night. Laura offers to get him an overnight bag, so text her a list of what he needs. She takes off, and Martin fumes that Tracy will pay for this. Laura checks on Martin. Marco calls Lucas and asks if he could meet at the pool after his shift to get a drink and watch the sunset. Lucas would love to. Lucas thinks he sounds lighter, so his mom's trouble must be over. Marco says it looks like they soon will be. Marco asks Lucas if he worked at the hospital when Britt Westbourne was the chief of staff. Lucas confirms that he worked with Britt. Marco explains her name came up in one of his cases. They return to making plans for their sunset date, and Lucas teases that who knows where the night might lead them. Sonny makes arrangements for Natalia at his place. Sonny asks Natalia what her answer is, as they are running out of time. Natalia knows and gives him a key to the safe deposit box with all the evidence in it. She says her life is in his hands. Sonny needs an answer. Sonny says he knows Marco is making a deal with Turner, but if she suspects Natalia might run, she could have her arrested. Natalia knows she'd be giving up her entire life and family with this move. But would they still stay in touch? Sonny says they would, and he'd owe her a debt. Natalia's out of time. Sonny lists all the little things she's done for him, so he will make sure she's taken care of. She thanks him and is excited about this opportunity for a new life. Sonny tells her that loyalty means everything to him, and he won't abandon her. Sonny makes a promise. Sonny makes the arrangements for her to depart on Friday. That is when Turner will be expecting to meet with her. Natalia says she'll be ready, and she is so sorry she never told him about Jens. No matter how charming he tries to be, she says Sidwell is a dangerous man. Sonny knows. She says Marco isn't like his father, and he's not a criminal, so remember that. Sonny says he has no problem as long as Marco is just Sidwell's lawyer. Text reads, subscribe to SOAP's General Hospital newsletter. Get breaking news alerts, daily recaps, exclusive interviews and spoilers sent straight to your inbox. https://cloud email soaps.com/sign up. In the show's final moments, Ava tells Cody that hanging art is harder than it seems, and she couldn't ask him to do that. Cody says he's offering. He says the place he grew up, Serenity, had a ton of art, which he wasn't allowed near. If he got too close, the housekeeper would slap him. He says those days are gone, and he's not much of a fighter himself anymore. He says the last person he got into a fight with was Lucky, but now he's left the country. At the hospital, Liz sees Alexis to the elevators and tells her they all should move on. Lee says she has, and so has Rick. She says this was a wake-up call for her and Rick seems lighter and happier now. Liz thanks Alexis for the talk, but Alexis stops her and appears as if she wants to tell her something. Rick spies on them from around the corner. Natalia stops by Marco's office, not as a client but as his mother. Dante stops by the pool, and Lulu tells him that Rocco's shift is over. Dante guesses they had the same idea. Dante spots Gio and asks if they can talk for a minute. Also at the pool, Lucas waits for Marco and hangs out with Christina until he arrives. Behind a desk at the Q estate, Brooklyn looks over the birth certificates when Rocco and Danny show up. They apologize for busting in and ask if she's working. She says she is. Rocco seems to shoot daggers at her with his eyes. Rocco and Danny GH at the hospital. Deanna tells Martin there is a problem. His insurance lapsed and he's no longer covered. Sonny has Laura over and tells her that he's not selling his peers to Sidwell. Laura is relieved, as Sidwell is an evil man. Sonny says Sidwell acts like a legitimate businessman, but he sees how he operates. He won't start anything with the guy, but violence is coming to Port Charles, and they have to figure out a way to stop it. Sonny and Laura GH on the next General Hospital. Lulu suggests to Lucas that it would be good to know how tight they are. Sasha asks Felicia for something important. Marco asks his mom how she arranged for said new life. Sidwell tells Ezra, "You will smile and say thank you." Carly warns Sonny this guy could be a real threat to their family. Dante tells Jason that he thought he let Danny run wild because he couldn't be bothered to parent him. General Hospital spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for Wednesday, June 25, 2025. It shows Dante Falconeri coming up with a plan. Lucas Jones warns Elizabeth Liz Baldwin. Plus, Tracy Quartermain discusses Cody Bell's payment. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the ABC soap opera. Cody Bell's payment. Let's begin with Cody, who announced during Drew Kane's press conference that the ketamine in Tracy's car belonged to him. That cleared Tracy and Drew's drugging, but it also put a spotlight on Cody. In any case, the plan seemingly worked, at least for now. Read more. Find out what happened on the last episode of GH. While Curtis Ashford still has Felicia Scorpio looking for Jacinda, Cody and Tracy have a meeting. The preview clip shows Tracy wanting to discuss Cody's payment. Then Cody asks if there is something more to the job that's already been done. It sounds like Cody might have to do one more thing. Dante Falconeri's family plan. General Hospital spoilers for today's episode reveal that Dante comes up with a plan on how to help his son. However, he can't do it alone, especially since Gio can't stand him. Dante tells Brooklyn Quartermain that they need to work together if they're going to reach Giovanni Gio Palmieri. Dante is right. The longer that the fighting goes on, the less chance Gio has of coming around. Dante and BLQ also need to explain things to Gio so he understands. However, Gio is still pretty furious. So, they might have a better chance of going through Emma Scorpio Drake rather than Gio himself. Of course, that could also put Emma in the middle of some nasty conflict. It could also cost her Joe's trust. Read this. General Hospital spoilers. Drew drugging or brainwashing Willow. Why does she look all spaced out? Wednesday, June 25, 2025. Fans will also see Martin Gray lying in a hospital bed after his face landed on the floor at the press conference. It is stated that Martin will get some bad news. Meanwhile, Martin tells Rick Lansing that if anyone can irritate that woman, it's the lawyer. Then, a close-up shows Ava Jerome mumbling about a liar. Plus, Lucas Jones has some words of caution for Liz. It seems that Lucas warns the nurse that she's leading Rick on. However, Liz responds with total shock and denies it. The preview clip also features Sonny Corinthos, who wants an answer. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on ABC to find out what is coming up next. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with GH right now. Come back here often for General Hospital spoilers, news and updates. General Hospital spoilers reveal that wayward Lulu Spencer wasn't going to rest until she exposed the fact that mild-mannered Gio Palmieri's biological parents are Brooke Lynn Quartermaine and Dante Falconeri. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Irresponsible and unrepentant Lulu still thinks she did nothing wrong by raising 3 lives to the ground. Poor BLQ is beside herself that Gio wants nothing to do with her, and she's looking for payback. Will she get it? The chances are excellent, and here's what to know about her revenge plans. Lulu needs a lesson in humility. Brooke Lynn dressed down her grandmother Gloria Cerullo and kicked her mom Lois Cerullo out of the mansion. Additionally, she tore into and slapped Lulu. But wait, there's more. Brooke Lynn is on a mission to ruin Lulu, and to this end she hired attorney Marco Rios to find dirt on her enemy. Brooke Lynn wants intel on dead woman Britt Westbourne. To understand why, we need to take a trip down memory lane. Britt birthed Lulu and Dante's son, Rocco Falconeri, in 2014. She lied and said that Nicholas Cassadine impregnated her, but in actuality she stole one of Lulu and Dante's embryos and had it implanted. Or did she? Britt stole Rocco. When Rocco was born, Britt named him Ben. Ultimately the truth came out. The family of 3 was reunited, and Ben got a name suited for a WWE combatant. The ordeal was devastating for all involved, but it could be about to get a heck of a lot worse. Will BLQ discover that Britt is not dead after all? We know that Thibault is set to appear on GH, so it could be that Brooke Lynn discovers that Britt is alive, which would be shocking in and of itself. But what if there is more truth to be revealed? What if Britt is Rocco's actual mother? Is Britt coming back? Do you think that Britt has been Rocco's biological mother all along? That would not be too far-fetched in a town like Port Charles, New York, where Casey the alien once wandered. Tell us, GH fans, do you wish that BLQ exacts revenge on Lulu by taking away her son after the way Lulu ostracized her from Gio? Be sure to catch up on everything happening with General Hospital right now. Come back here often for GH spoilers, news and updates, and make us your favorite hotspot. General Hospital spoilers and updates reveal the late star Johnny Wachter's mother has been in a legal battle with a technology company over access to her late son's devices. Apple has consistently refused to allow her access to his laptop and desktop computer and his iPhone since his untimely death, which happened as a result of murder. Scarlett Wachter has gone to court with Apple. The mother of deceased General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter is asking the court to require Apple to unlock her son's electronic devices, which consist of an Apple laptop, desktop, and iPhone. According to a report by Us Weekly, Scarlett Wachter submitted her request to the court on Friday, June 20th, urging for an order that would enable her to gain access to Johnny's devices. In her role as the administrator of his estate, Scarlett expressed the necessity to examine the data to see if her late son's computer and phone hold any financial details or assets. Scarlett shared that she had reached out to Apple, but they informed her that their assistance hinged on obtaining a court order. Apple specified the order must state, Apple is mandated by the court to facilitate the recovery of Johnny's personal data from their accounts, which might include third-party, personally identifiable information or data. Johnny Wachter was killed on the morning of May 25, 2024 in Los Angeles. Johnny was tragically shot on the morning of May 25, 2024, in downtown Los Angeles. The 37-year-old had just finished a bartending shift with a colleague when he came across thieves attempting to steal the catalytic converter from his vehicle. Scarlett expressed her frustration in trying to get Apple to unlock her son's devices, emphasizing her need for access to information that could assist in shutting down various accounts associated with Johnny. She also mentioned to the outlet that there are photos and videos she wishes to recover from the devices. I don't want to delete them, she remarked, adding that she hopes there is a lot of good content on there. Scarlett petitioned to become administrator of her son's estate in June 2024. Scarlett submitted a petition to become the administrator of her deceased son's estate, and the judge approved her request, allowing Scarlett to manage her son's finances and bills. 4 men were charged in connection with Johnny's death. Robert Barcelo and Sergio Estrada faced murder charges, while Leonel Gutierrez was charged with attempted robbery and grand theft with a firearm. Frank Olano was charged as an accessory, receiving stolen property, and possessing a firearm as a felon. Gutierrez was sentenced to 4 years in prison after his no-contest plea in September 2024, and Olano received 5 years and 8 months following his no-contest plea in October 2024. Barceló and Estrada have both pleaded not guilty and are waiting for their trial. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with GH right now. Come back here often for General Hospital spoilers, news and updates. General Hospital spoilers report Drew Quartermain is pushing for a quick wedding to Willow Corinthos in the weeks ahead, hoping to solidify their bond after her devastating custody loss of Emilia Corinthos and Wiley Corinthos to Michael Corinthos. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news, straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. But with Drew's reputation tarnished by his manipulations, support for their impending post-divorce nuptials is scarce. Martin "Marty" Gray, Drew's attorney, is a vocal backer, but he's on the payroll and looking at this marital contract as a means to Willow getting her kids back. Nina Reeves will likely feign enthusiasm to stay close to her daughter, despite her reservations. But who else, if anyone, will stand by Drew and Willow on their wedding day? Or is their guest list doomed to be a ghost town? Martin's paid loyalty Marty, as Drew's lawyer, is all in, hyping the wedding as a way to bolster Willow's image for future visitation battles, especially after his legal maneuvering in the June 2025 custody hearing. His support is less about love and more about billable hours, raising doubts about his sincerity. Drew leans on Marty to spin the wedding as a fresh start, but with many in Port Chuck wary of Drew's tactics, like his blackmail of Portia Robinson, Marty's backing feels hollow. Will his paid enthusiasm be enough to fill the pews, or is he Drew's only true ally? Nina's reluctant show of support. Nina, torn by her secret fling with Drew and maintaining a role in her daughter's life, will likely plaster on a smile for Willow's sake if she can't manage to stop this wedding before it comes to fruition. Her strained bond with Willow might push her to attend, perhaps offering Crimson's resources for a lavish event, but her heart won't be in it, knowing Drew's manipulations. A tense mother-daughter moment, maybe at a dress fitting, could see Nina bite her tongue to avoid revealing her past with Drew. Will Nina's feigned support hold? Or will her doubts leak, alienating Willow further? Who else stands with them? Drew's desperate hunt for allies is bound to come up short. Willow's fractured ties with Michael, Carly Spencer, and Jason Morgan leave few willing to celebrate. Jordan Ashford, distracted by her WSB mission, joins Curtis Ashford in mutual fury over Drew's blackmail. Thus, they are unlikely guests. Fans online are skeptical, posting, "Who'd show up for Drew's wedding?" Crickets. Might Drew and Willow's wedding day find genuine support beyond Marty and Nina's reluctant nod? Or will their sparse guest list expose their isolation? Keep checking back for more GH news and spoilers to find out. General Hospital spoilers. Drew seeks allies as wedding day nears, but who's in his corner? As the wedding bells begin to ring louder in Port Charles, General Hospital spoilers tease that Drew Cain is inching closer to what should be one of the most meaningful days of his life. Yet, there's a looming cloud of uncertainty hanging over his nuptials, and not just about whether the ceremony will happen without drama. The real question now is, who's genuinely in Drew's corner as he prepares to tie the knot? Drew has never been short on confidence, but even he realizes that a wedding isn't just about the couple. It's also about community and support. And right now, Drew might be struggling to secure that support, especially considering recent betrayals, complicated relationships, and some emotional distance that's grown between him and those he once considered close allies. Willow's cold feet. Of course, any conversation about Drew's wedding has to begin with the bride-to-be, Willow Tate. Although the two have shared moments of connection, their romance has raised more than a few eyebrows. Willow's feelings for Drew seem murky at best, more grounded in shared grief and need for emotional escape than in genuine burning passion. Could she be second-guessing her decision to say, "I do"? Some of Willow's closest confidants have noticed her hesitations. She's been unusually quiet about the wedding plans, reluctant to share the excitement most brides feel. There's also the lingering shadow of Michael Corinthos, a relationship that, despite its end, still seems to live in the emotional corners of Willow's heart. If Willow's not fully committed, Drew may be setting himself up for public heartbreak. Jason's warning? Meanwhile, Jason Morgan has been eyeing the situation from a distance. Though Jason and Drew have had a long and complex history as brothers, they've occasionally managed to put their differences aside for the sake of family. However, recent developments have put a wedge between them once again. Jason is reportedly skeptical of Drew's motivations. Some rumors suggest that Drew's rush to marry Willow might not be about love at all, but instead about power, revenge, or even a strategic chess move in the ongoing chaos within the Corinthos family. If Jason voices those concerns, it could lead to a dramatic confrontation, or worse, sabotage on the big day. Carly's role in all this. Carly Spencer has always had a strong opinion about those she cares about, and her influence cannot be underestimated. Once romantically linked to Drew herself, Carly has a front-row seat to his current emotional state. Though she's tried to step back and let Drew make his own choices, part of her still wonders if he's trying to prove something, to her, to himself, or to the entire town. Whether Carly chooses to support the union or speak out against it could change everything. Her silence thus far has been deafening, but that may not last. Carly rarely stays on the sidelines for long, especially when a situation involves people she still deeply cares about. Olivia, Brooklyn, and unexpected encouragement? Drew might find encouragement from more unexpected places. Olivia Quartermaine has grown to appreciate Drew's straightforward nature, and might offer her support out of respect for his commitment. Brooklyn, now with her own plate full thanks to recent personal revelations, could also chime in with some encouragement, not necessarily out of a deep friendship, but perhaps because she recognizes that everyone deserves a shot at happiness, even if it's messy. Nina's dilemma. Nina Reeves might also have her own thoughts, especially considering how this wedding could affect the already fragile web of Port Charles relationships. As someone constantly accused of meddling, Nina might surprisingly take a hands-off approach this time. But then again, Nina's silence often hides strategic thinking. Will she let this wedding proceed, or will she choose to drop a bomb that could unravel it all? After all, she has a knack for inserting herself into high-stakes drama at the worst possible times. Curtis and Jordan. Where do they stand? Given Curtis Ashford's ever-complicated relationships and Jordan Ashford's insights as a cop and a friend, both may weigh in behind the scenes. Drew, a former Navy SEAL with strong ties to both, may seek advice or quiet backing from either of them. But the support might come with conditions, or at the very least warnings about rushing into something that could backfire in the long run. A wedding with strings attached? All signs point to Drew trying to orchestrate a wedding that not only cements his commitment to Willow, but also reasserts his presence in Port Charles society. However, questions linger about whether his motivations are pure, or if this marriage is a means to an end. Will Drew win the backing he needs to make the wedding a celebration? Or will quiet doubts among family and friends turn this event into another Port Charles disaster? One thing's certain. When it comes to General Hospital, weddings are rarely just about love. They're battlegrounds for secrets, schemes, and unexpected truths. Stay tuned, the aisle may be straight, but the path to the altar is anything but. Doubt behind the smiles. Drew's uneasy road to I do. As the big day approaches, Drew Kane walks a delicate tightrope between hope and doubt. On the surface, he's doing what most grooms do. Preparing for a new chapter, gathering support, and focusing on the future. But beneath that composed exterior lies a sea of uncertainty, and the cracks are beginning to show. Behind closed doors, Drew is privately wrestling with the same questions others are asking out loud. Is this wedding truly about love? Or is it part of a larger plan? Has he convinced himself that marrying Willow is the right step, when deep down, he knows he may be rushing a connection that hasn't had time to fully blossom? It's a fair question, especially considering the rocky history both Drew and Willow share with other people. Drew's heart still carries the scars of past betrayals, while Willow has been emotionally tethered to Michael Corinthos far longer than she's been involved with Drew. And though Willow has tried to let go of Michael, part of her heart might never truly be free. Wedding invitations or warning signs. Meanwhile, the guest list itself is a source of tension. Those who've received invitations aren't all sure they want to attend. Some feel obligated, others curious. But a few like Jason, Carly, and even Michael may view this wedding less as a joyful celebration and more as a powder keg ready to explode. Jason is especially conflicted. He doesn't trust Drew's motives, and he may not stay silent if he feels Willow is being used or manipulated. His loyalty to Willow and Michael is strong, And any whiff of insincerity from Drew could bring out the enforcer side of Jason, not the brotherly one. Michael, for his part, is struggling to process how fast things have moved. Seeing the woman he once loved pledge her life to someone else, especially someone like Drew, who's had a turbulent moral arc, could spark emotional turmoil. Will he speak now or forever hold his peace? The Quartermain elephant in the room. Then there's the Quartermain legacy. Drew's family ties, or lack thereof, to the core family dynamic haven't gone unnoticed. Tracy Quartermain, never one to mince words, has reportedly voiced concern behind the scenes. She questions whether Drew's motivations are more about securing position and power than about genuine love. Brooke Lynn, though sympathetic to Drew's recent struggles, remains skeptical. She's learned the hard way how fast feelings can shift in Port Charles, and how loyalty can be weaponized. Her quiet reservations may bubble to the surface if the wedding starts to crack under pressure. Nina's leverage. Nina Reeves continues to hold powerful information that could potentially disrupt Drew and Willow's path to marriage. Though she's been burned for her interference in the past, Nina still sees herself as a protector, especially when she believes someone she cares about is being wronged. If she discovers a secret Drew is keeping, or even suspects his intentions aren't what they appear, there's every chance she'll step into the fray, consequences be damned. With her own life in disarray, meddling in Drew's world might feel like her last shred of control. Willow's emotional crossroads. For Willow, the pressure is mounting. Though she said yes, a growing sense of unease is creeping in. This isn't the fairy tale she once imagined, especially not with the town whispering, her ex watching closely, and her heart divided. She may not be ready to call it off, but she's also not throwing herself into wedding planning with the enthusiasm of a bride madly in love. The idea of being with Drew was comforting, safe even, but now that it's becoming permanent, the cracks in that comfort are beginning to widen. A moment of clarity could strike at any time. All it might take is a quiet word from Carly, a pointed look from Michael, or an emotional plea from Jason. And if that moment comes at the altar, the fallout could be devastating. Is a wedding even the endgame? Many fans are beginning to speculate that this wedding might not even happen. With so many conflicting agendas swirling and unresolved emotions surfacing, it's possible the entire ceremony could implode. Alternatively, Drew might go through with it for reasons unrelated to love. Perhaps he's holding on to secrets that would make marriage more advantageous, from business leverage to child custody or family legacy plays. Whatever his reasons, General Hospital fans know that very few weddings go off without a hitch. Especially when secrets are buried, emotions run high, and the guest list includes half the town's enemies. One way or another, everything's about to change. Whether Drew and Willow make it down the aisle or not, one thing is certain. The repercussions will be felt across Port Charles. New alliances will form, old grudges may reignite, and some relationships, possibly even the core of the Corinthos and Quartermain families, could be changed forever. As viewers prepare for a wedding that might never fully bloom, they'll be watching each expression, every slip of the tongue, and the growing tension as Drew fights to rally the town to his side, even as that very town questions whether he deserves to be standing at the altar at all. Stay tuned, because in Port Charles, love might bring people together, but it's secrets that tear them apart.